We'll teach you a little bit more sales stuff. So I'm going to talk about these questions. What do you think a big challenges we're running into really in the sales side overall is? What do you think it is? Asking for the appointment. I got that on my list to talk about. Then after that, what we run into, what we've been working on a lot lately. Objections, right? Objection, I think, is the biggest thing. I think we're 3, 4, or 5 objections away from just having a much higher conversion rate in a marketplace that has what? A lot of resistance, right? Exactly what I was looking for. So I got lots of resistance, means I'm going to have more objections. So I was going to give you guys 6 questions that are super powerful to kind of help add to that arsenal that you have, how to get over the hump of the problem that you're getting, which is like, think about it, not sure, talk to spouse, whatever it is. We have like the main ones, and I'll probably cover one of those today as well. Just want to give you a few different things, but I want to give you kind of more so in the presentation. It's on the listing side as well as the buy side, specifically getting to the back end. Now, back to what Ryan said, one thing that we're really struggling right now is asking for appointments, booking the appointments. How do you know? Because you don't see that many appointments in the downstairs as usual, right? So make sure that's obviously the cost of admission to get in. So 6 quick questions to give you guys that can help you on the back end, okay? And it comes with a lot of mistakes. Number 1, get to the back end, you get to where your close is. One thing you're going to ask this right here. What questions do you still have? Let's try trial close. This is different. Where a lot of people mess this up. What do you think they ask that's similar?
Do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions? What do they say? No, right? Or the second part they ask is right. Bobby says not an open-ended question, so that's where it screws up. The second thing you run into is they say, does this make sense to you? And then they say,
yes.
Yeah. But underlying, there's an objection there you don't know about that comes up on the back end a little bit further along when you're asking for the seal, having to sign, whatever doesn't make sense. So this gives them what? The opportunity to share with you what they may be thinking about, maybe not sure about. There's 2 things you're going to get. One, something that you may talked about, they're not sure about, the clarity of it. Or number 2, an objection they haven't really brought up yet, you're not sure about. Does that make sense? So you're going to make that kind of like a transition point. You're not to the full close yet, because now once I bring the close out, that small objection or complaint comes into something that's a large objection. Does that make sense? So now I'm going from basically closing, and the close, I got to go back to overcome that objection. Does that make sense? If I do it ahead of time before actually the sale, what happens? What's the lesson there? It's much easier to overcome. So if I ask it to you, Scott, before I get to the close and say, so you're going to do business together, and I say, hey, basically go through trial close, whatever it is, ask them, hey, what questions do you still have? And they could say something like what?
What's the commission?
Yeah, that's going to probably be the next logical one, right? It's a great question. We have multiple packages that we give for you. Aside from that, any other questions that you still have about the progress, about our system, process, anything at all? Awesome. Okay, so assume we come to agreement of price, what your property's worth, and the commission package that we have are a fit for you. Do you feel comfortable us handling the sale for you? Get your house sold. Yes. They say yes. Right now, I know what? Yep, I have to have the commission injection. I'm not going to the commission injection until they agree to use me, though, 100% based on what it is. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Where would I put this if I was on the buyer presentation? Where can I sneak this?
Back part of the chart?
Back part?
Yep. So this is my...
Before I go in for the handshake and like after the commitment?
100%. Why?
I'm double closing at this point.
I want to figure out what I missed on the front or the back of the chart that they didn't really comprehend, number 1. The problem with our presentation is not that it's not there, and it's not, a lot of times it's not that you didn't say it. It's what? Jeremy, I'll talk about this a lot. What's the problem, Jeremy? They didn't comprehend what you said. You said it, but it didn't register in their brain. That could be because we fried them by just going talking too much, right? We have enough ups and downs in our voice, no trial closing, question, whatever. It could be a million different reasons. So I want to, and if you see them start to space out or think about something, and a lot of times you guys have done it before, I nail the presentation, I ask what questions they have next or whatever question they have, and they give me some out of left field. You ever had that happen? Which means they've been thinking about that question for what? 15 minutes if it's a listing presentation, 20 minutes, sometimes an hour. And so I want to get that opportunity to get that out of them so I can do what? Shut that door and then close in what needs to be closed with the focus, which would be 2 things: price of the property and commission that we charge on listing side. Buyer side is going to be commission that we charge, right? Length of agreement, typically the top 2 that you're going to get there. You guys with me on that? So that's why it's super important. So what's the question? Yep, and I'll probably do a small trial close before that, go through, button up the last one. Hey, Bob, let me ask you this. What questions you guys still have about the process or the system that we have here? Right? I typically leave that, the one I asked before that is my really favorite, and say, how does it compare to the last agent you worked with? Right? Because at that point, they're selling themselves on us. What we have, it's a mini trial close, and I want to be able to, and you can sense it if you are good at this, that there may be something underlying they're not telling you. That makes sense? And so I want you guys to write this down. Confused people don't buy. Clear people do, right? Confused people don't buy. So that's my chance to do what? Make sure there's no confusion left. That make sense to you guys? Pretty basic, but it's just a checklist I want you to have in your presentation that you build in. Now, you're not going to remember this just by going to the meeting and practice over and over. Second thing, this is a really good one. This may be if they're going to give you guys a little pushback if you're not sure, but it's a great way to ask to close. Let's say I ask Scott to close. He's like, yeah, well, I'm not really sure. It depends on price or whatever. We kind of go back, hey, we don't determine price. Market terms of price, right? I'm going to go back and loop them again, and I'm going to ask a question like this. What, if anything, is preventing us from getting started today? Super simple. Hey, what, if anything, or you say, what, if anything, is preventing us from getting started today? It's important, right? You have the today word, which is super important there, right? But it's very important. So I'm going to write down to you. What, if anything, is preventing us from getting started when? Today. Today matters so much. Because if you don't frame it that way, they're going to think, oh, this is cool, we can do this down the road. Then the ether wears off, right? Whatever it is, life comes, they get busy, and all of a sudden they're in the abyss, right? Super important there to look at. Now, why does this matter?
You want to get a commitment.
Yeah, I want to get commitment from them, and here's the deal, right? Every sale is going to have some sort of roadblock. Here's the crazy part. You can't solve a problem you haven't identified. This is going to help uncover the real obstacle if there is one. Does that make sense? Helps uncover if there's a real obstacle if there is one. So, hey, and this is obviously, most of the time if you just write, you're going to probably not have to worry about this too much. But this is a lot of times on the back end, you've had a couple objections, challenges, you overcame them a little bit, you loop them, and then you're going to go back. Hey, Bob, we went through this, answer that, right? Explain how length of agreement is. What, if anything, right, besides what we talked about, is preventing you from preventing us to get started today? Whatever your situation is. That makes sense? On the listing side, it could be after they worry about price, right? You overcome price, and they're like, well, I still want to talk to her about my wife, I want to think about it, and then at that point, I'm going to do what? I'm going to ask this why. I want to see what the roadblock is that I don't know about, that I can do what? Identify the problem, then do what? Attack the problem, overcome it while we're still there face to face. Because the minute I'm gone, what happens? Doubt creeps in, competition creeps in, everything I just talked about with them, they forget it. Just is what it is, right? Super important there overall. Number 3 is a good one, right? Outside of the blank, what will the blank be, you think, probably? Price, commission, timeline, right? So from the listing side, it's going to be price and commission. On the buy side, yeah, and if they tell me that up front, for sure, right? That's something that's important. Is there anything else giving you hesitation? I'm fishing there for what? Yes. And here's what I was talking about. This may not be about what you think it is. So if I think it's commission only, and I'm here talking about commission, and I drop my commission, which we don't really do that, but just say somebody does that, and it's not the real problem, what are you doing there? Nothing. Costing yourself money. Well, you don't need to cost yourself money. So outside the commission, right, whatever the scenario is there anything else giving you hesitation? It's a way to isolate that objection, but make sure it's not the real issue. Now, if they say, well, yeah, I think the price of my house is worth more than that, what do we really know? It's more price than it is commission in that scenario. Does that make sense? So outside of the blank, which is going to be price, commission, and I'll put like timeline for like the buyer agreement, for example. Make sure I get it exactly right. Is there anything else giving you hesitation? What's the key word there? Hesitation, right? It's kind of like a bait. Hesitation is an easy way they can say, well, I'm not really against it, but I'm hesitating a little bit because of this, right? And they could say length of agreement. They don't want to say what? Do you guys like pressure? They say, no, I don't like pressure. Hey, if you had an agreement for 3 months to buy a property, what do you think happens on month 2? Pressure, why?
The agent's trying to sell you something.
The agent's going to try to sell you something before month 3. Wouldn't you? Right? They can be the nicest, sweetest agent in the world who's just most laid back person in the world. They know they got 30 days left to sell your property and close on it. What do you think happens every single time you walk in a house? Hard sell. You don't want that, do you? I don't want that for you either. And so the most important thing we want for you guys is to find the right property in the right timeline. And so for me, I'd much rather you buy in 2 weeks. This 12-month agreement is for you and your sanity and your protection. Does that make sense? Boom, there you're able to have it. Make sense? And so then you're going to loop back around. Anything else besides that, right? Initial timeline issue, but which we now are on the same page, giving you hesitation. Now you go back, close, and you're able to have that part. That's if you send something there. It's a way to dig it out. Because what most people do, they overcome that one, and then they just fall flat in their face on the next one because they don't know the real objection. So that's what's giving you the opportunity to dig that and fish that one back out. Okay? Very, very important. Number 4, this is a good one. So this is after you've gone back and forth. Jeremy there, so, well, you think about it, you overcome, think about it. Same thing the buy side, well, I need to talk to my dad, my mom, whatever it is you get, right? This is where you're going from the final close, especially on the listing side. If you're close, you've been back and forth, they hesitate on price. What would need to happen for you to feel 100% comfortable moving forward today? What would need to happen for you to feel 100% comfortable moving forward today? That's the what, put it all on the table, close. What do you think you get there?
I have to talk to my wife. Well, I still got to interview 2 other agents.
There could be one, right? If I did that front, there's another one we can talk about in a minute, which is pretty cool, especially if they still want to shop around, right? That you're able to kind of talk about, which is really good, ideally. And that's kind of one thing we'll talk about. If they're wanting to shop price, if you're too expensive, they want to talk with other agents, right? Let's say they say that, hey, what do you hope another agent does better than what we've not covered today? Let me ask you this, Tim. What could another agent possibly do that you haven't seen on these 2 sides of this chart?
I don't know yet because I haven't talked to them.
If you could make something up and think it was statistically possible, what could it be?
I mean, it looks pretty good so far from what I've seen.
Yeah, so at what point is our evidence and proof that we can get the job done overwhelming enough for you to make a decision?
I'm not sure. That's why I'm meeting with those other people to find out.
Right, I totally respect that. But did you meet with anybody before me? Obviously, you're going to dig and find out I would hopefully have enough of this in my discovery to be able to hit them with that. Right? But it's important.
I think it's
Yeah, what do you hope another agent does better that we have not covered today? So I'm not saying what could they do. They could do anything. Right? But I'm saying what are you hoping another agent does better that we have not covered today? And here's the thing. There could be something else. They may think that you need a fancy Facebook video. They get 32 views, right? That's the new hot thing, right? So you may want to make sure you got to have a spin on the top, and then you got to have them walk through the property, right? And you have to have the words right in the middle. So, like, there could be that, right? And in this case, if I got to get the listing to do that, we'll do that. But I need to know that. Does that make sense? And so, and here's back to Barron's thing earlier, right? The people I met with last week, they had that. Well, they had been through 2 agents, frustrated. So what do I think I asked them? What are your biggest frustrations? You guys on the sales side read through my whole discovery, right? It's super deep, wasn't it? What did you dislike about the agents? What was your biggest frustrations? What are your biggest challenges? Then I went back and did what? Do you guys remember? I asked them what they wanted in an agent. What's most important in an agent? What are they desiring in an agent? They went through stuff, communication, people they can trust, people that are proactive, people that get the job done. And so guess what I did my whole presentation? Hammered that. And so if they did give me that in the back, and I say, hey, Barron, hey, I totally appreciate that, but you told me in the beginning, the last 3 things you hated about the last agents was this, this, and this. You wanted these 4 things, and guess what? We nailed all 4 things. What could they possibly do that I haven't showed you today? So I say, Barron, I prefer to go last so I can show you all the things that we do that they don't do, so I can get you the most amount of money for your home. That's what we have on inside sales as part of the script, right? Interviewing other agents, and they say, yes, great, can we go last so we can show you all the things that we do that they don't do, so we can get you the most amount of money for your home. We only ask one thing, though, is that you don't list with them until we at least get a chance to meet with you. Is that a deal? Yes. Right. Whatever you do, don't let them convince you to cancel with us. You know what they're going to do? They're going to try to hard close you, and they're going to get you to cancel the appointment with us. Don't ever do that. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Make sense? So that's all part of the what? Discovery and pre-frame, which is important. Okay? But that's the key thing. And then you go back to, hey, same thing. Is there anything that you think that they could possibly do that would help sell your house for more money? You know, listing side or buyer side you're talking about? Audra. If you trust Audra, do you think Audra misleads you by sending you to me?
Yeah, right. I mean, I feel like this kind of,
Yeah.
I feel good about
And if they do that, right, and you close them 16 times, you do trial closes, you say all the same things here we just talked about, right, and they still want to interview other agents, what can you say?
What you just said.
What's another one?
I got one. If this is perfect, would you do it?
Yeah, no,
What's the difference between this and perfect?
exactly right. Wow, I don't know, I still got to give. Hey, let me ask you this, Jeremy. If you lost your car keys and then you found them, would you keep looking for them? Then you wouldn't keep looking for them. So why are you going to keep looking for an agent after we just showed you 2 pages and 180 things that do exactly what you want me to do? Is your time valuable? Absolutely. So why waste it to other agents? I'll go ahead and cancel that appointment for you if you like, right? Whatever you got to do. It's worst case scenario can happen. Let's play it out. Make sense? So that's a very, very important one. What number is that? 4. Important. So, and that's what we talk about. So like, if people say I'm not ready, right? What is that? It's not a real objection, right? That's just saying I'm not certain. I'm not ready. I'm not sure to make a decision yet, right? I want to think about it. Those are just saying what? I'm not certain, which is okay. And there could be 2 things. It could be personality type, which is like C personality, which they don't think about everything. And so my job is to get them to do what? Make a decision, right? And say, hey, Jeremy, here's the deal. We're going to make a decision today either way. And guess what? Not making a decision is a decision. And for most people, guess what the worst decision you could ever make is? Not make a decision. That's probably what got you in this situation right now. Would you agree? Right? And you got to go back and do what? Push him. But most people do what? Just fold and just take the easy route. I'll call you back. I'll check back in with you, whatever it is. Meanwhile, a closer comes in and takes your business. Why? Because it's all psychology. It's all how people make decisions. They need that help there. Does that make sense? Now, we're going to future pace them now. Let's say the are somebody wants to think about it, not sure to make a decision. Here's what the next one is. Let's say that we don't do this today. What happens next? Let's say we don't do this today. What happens next? What does that do, you think? Yep. What else?
Or they can be honest with what their plans are actually.
Yeah, they could be tell you, well, we're going to meet with 200 people, right? That's a good example. Let's say we don't do this today. What happens next? I'm looking to do what? Future pace the pain. And I'm going back to what? Their why. Let's say we don't take action today and you go meet with another agent or go with a discount agent or go with someone else who doesn't have the same track record and success that we do. What happens, Scott, when you're 3 more months down the road, 5 more months down the road, and you still haven't seen your grandkids yet and you miss another birthday? What's that going to feel like? So I need to do what? Future pace them on the flip side of not taking action with who? With me. That's called cascade, right? I want to cascade the paint to the next part, but I got to do what? Pit to peak. And I'm going back down to the pit so they can see the difference here. That's what creates gaps. And for me to, and here's one thing we teach all the time in Warrior. How do you get somebody to make a decision? You put them what we call the gap. The gap is from the pit to the peak. Here's where you're at now. Here's where you could be. Now, some cases they need to future pace that. I'm taking them back down to the pit. In many cases, if they go back down there, it's going to be worse than it is now. Hey, what happens here? Once I put them back into what we call the gap, that's how you force people to make decisions. Why? Why does that work?
Because you're basically showing them what they could have and then taking away from them and showing them what they're at, where they're at now.
Yeah, I want to show them the price and the cost of not making a decision today. Because most people's lives are messed up because of them doing what? Not making decisions, period. Jeremy, that's what I was yesterday. Most people, you think people are like proactive to get stuff done. Most people aren't. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't move forward. They don't take action. And all of a sudden life stacks up, and all of a sudden, boom, guess what? You missed out, made a mistake. We had a lady yesterday that Scott was supposed to meet with in foreclosure, right? It goes to sale next Tuesday, $460,000 house. Joe called her, she wouldn't answer, finally texted her. She responded to a text, but she wouldn't hop on the phone. He's like, dude, you want a foreclosure next Tuesday, but you won't answer the telephone. And that's just an example of what? Avoidance and not making a decision. And then she did what, Scott? And said what? She had another appointment, allegedly, that she didn't know about. How many more appointments can be more important than your house getting sold in the courthouse steps next Tuesday? None. And so here's the thing. The reason I share this, people do this naturally. Why? They get conditioned to avoid pain, to sedate. And so my job is to put them in a place of future pain. Tony Robbins does this very, very well. He does all these like meditations if you ever go to his conferences, and he basically makes you visualize what's going to happen if you don't do the things you're supposed to do, right? And you feel that pain, which makes you do what? Take action so you avoid it. And so it's very, very important to make sure you kind of look at that. And so that's the key thing. So, and then I want to ask that, right? Let's say you don't do this. What happens next? And they give me a reason, and what could I say? You're going to have to lead them here a little bit. What are you going to do? And you go back to their why. What if? What does that feel like if it happens? Why? Feeling is what moves people, right? So I have to get them back into a place of feel. What's that going to feel like if you don't get it done? What's that going to feel like if this does happen? Whatever it is, that's important to do. But like, we're so used to these easy sales processes, we're not sticking in the hard part and going through what needs to get going through, right? Last one here. There's a little bit more goes with it. Number 6. Is there anything I haven't covered that would stop you from making decisions today? Is there anything I haven't covered that would stop you from making decisions today? Now, obviously, I'm not going to ask this as my first close. This is going to be what? If they're a little bit resistant, if they've been difficult, if they're not ready to make a decision yet, I've overcome 2 or 3 objections, I'm going to say this. Is there anything I haven't covered that would stop you from making a decision today? We're all looking for there.
Any red flags that they have so you can combat them?
Yes. Underlying objections they haven't talked about, right? Which is typically the real one. The first 2 aren't the real ones, right? And so this is my, I don't want to say Hail Mary, this is my last kind of cast into the water here to figure out, okay, what is it? Is there anything I haven't covered that would stop you making decisions today? It's put together that way so they can't really get out of it. Does that make sense? If they say no, what does that mean? They got to make a decision today, right? Yes or no? So it's a way to kind of force them into that place to face their thoughts, so to speak, or their fears, what it is. Is there anything I haven't covered today that would stop you making a decision? Here's one thing. The reason why you ask that, you'd rather hear an objection rather than lose a deal over something you haven't even talked about. I'll say it again. Why do you ask that? Because you'd rather hear an objection that's uncomfortable rather than lose a deal over something you haven't even talked about. And so that's the key part there, right? What's the deep part of this, right? You want to make sure you just get good at studying people. What am I doing here? I'm studying what? How people tick, right? How they think. And I got to uncover that because I'm looking for the layer below the layer. Does that make sense? And the only way for me to get to that is to what? Questions, 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 questions. Right? Another good one I have here that I just kind of put together. If they say, well, you know what, Jeremy? You guys are too expensive. I don't want to pay 6%. Right? 3 words. It's really good. Guess what you can say?
Compared to what?
Exactly right. Compared to what? Because I need to know what? Compared to what? Let's look at your guy. We're pretty much the same cost as everybody else. What are you getting for 4%? Let's look it up. Let's pull them up. Look at their expireds. Look at their track record, whatever it is. And then you're going to do what? Break down the economics of it. Anybody put MLS for that amount. Might as well do it yourself. Right? And then I'm creating what? An anchor point. Also doubt. But I need to create an anchor for them to compare that. Okay, we're going to compare your 4% to this. Let me ask you this. Did they do anything that we do right here? Of these 118 different things, how many do they do? They'll probably lie a little bit and say, we'll do a lot of, okay, which one specifically? And then I say, which ones don't they do? Do they have 100,000 plus buyers? They make 14,000 phone calls a week? Right? All the stuff you kind of go through on the listing side. Buyer side, very, very similar there as well. They have the track record, and so you're going to go to 2 things. The actual program, which is unfair advantage home buying system, or the guaranteed sold system, right? One of the 2. And then you're going to go to what? Company track record, Forbes Magazine, Wall Street Journal, Barbara Corcoran, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, right? Gary LeVox and Rascal Flatts, all these, right? They have those endorsements. No, they endorsed us. They didn't think that we were good at what we did, right? Do you think we'd ever have any of this quality of ranking if we were a discount agent at 4%? Just break it down with them. They'd say what? Why is that? Yeah, we're way better, right? And we don't have any money. We have money to invest on your behalf if we do 4%. So guess what our results would be? Not good. Do you want bad results for your largest asset? Not at all, right? And you're going to go back to like, Ryan, let me ask you this. Tell me one thing in life you're going to get a good outcome from buying the cheapest product. Can you name one? Then why would you pick your largest asset person to sell it in that same exact strategy?
Not really sure.
Yeah, that's called failure. Would you agree? So I'm doing what? Looping them right back through. But here's the thing. They need that. This is what I want you guys to look at. The objection is not the roadblock. I want you guys to really shift this up. The objection is not the roadblock. The objection is a treasure map. I want you to shift everything around. The objection you get to treasure map. What's that telling you? Where the gold is exactly what to say. So I want you to see every objection you get is actually a treasure map to show you what questions to ask to get the answer you need to get the gold at the end. If I don't get the objection, guess what I don't have? The X on the map. The objection is the X on the map you got to go to. Now, it may take a couple circles and rounds to go through to get there, but once I know where that's at, that's what I got to get to, and I do that through questions and asking those. Does that make sense? Same thing on the buyer side. 3.5% too much. Compared to what? What do you get with the other option? Make sense? Well, they just told me they would take whatever the other person gives them. Okay, so if it's 1%, right? Are they going to take it? And they say, yeah, okay, well, let me ask you this, Ryan. If they're not willing to fight for the food on their own family's table, how are they going to fight for you and your family to get your money saved on your table? If they fold in 4 seconds for you, how much are they going to fold for you when it's somebody else?
More concerned about the negotiation piece of that.
Yeah, they failed the first test. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So that now I'm going back to that part. So let's say you're buying your house, right? Role playing back to that. Whatever it is, I can overcome that in that scenario. But this helps me get to that point. Because it exposes what? The X on the map. And the X on the map is the actual objection, tells you where to go to get the gold. Does that make sense? Very valuable, I think, for you guys to look at. Questions about that? Scott, what are you hearing from that?
Really just covering the true objection, not just doing surface level questions, really getting to what is really holding them back.
Yeah. I think, too, most objections are uncertainty disguised as timing. It's a really good example there. Most objections are uncertainty disguised as timing. What does that mean? Think about it, wait, talk to spouse, all that is just what? I'm not certain in you. So if they were, they make a decision without a problem and be happy about it. And so my job is to uncover that and really get them back to certainty based on whatever doubt they have. Now, their doubt could be in their pre-existing conditions, pre-existing scenarios where they've been through, or it could be just their doubt in you. And if that's the case, I want to know kind of what that is. Does that make sense? And a couple more I had there. Just we talked about that. I want to talk to other agents, right? You guys have that. What are you hoping the other agent does better that we have not covered today? Very important. Too expensive compared to what, right? You set that anchor or the baseline, and you obviously compare ours side by side, line by line, which is important, right? Just get uber curious and start studying people. And if you're not sure what to do, what do? Ask the next question you can think of that applies to what the thought process looks like. And if you're not sure what can you say? Hey, that's a great point. Tell me more about that. What makes you say that? Tell me your thought process and get in that point. Right? And now I can start doing what? Yeah, I've just noticed most people just can't close because they don't have the same thought process the other person does. They're not in alignment. Their thought process is in a different alignment than yours is, which is why you're not connecting, which is why you can't solve the problem. Right? They're doing algebra, right? You're doing a different math, whatever it is, right? Calculus, and it's just not adding up. And so you got to figure out what math strategy they're using and go in there and basically reverse engineer that to help them uncover that number themselves. Does that make sense? I think it's very important. All right, move on from that. Does that help for you guys? Yeah. Give me question number 1. What is it? What questions you still have, right? Number 2.
What, if anything, is preventing us from getting started?
Yep. What, if anything, is preventing us from getting started today? Number 3.
Outside of blanks, is there anything else giving you hesitation?
Yep. And that could be price, commission, timeline, whatever it is. Number 4.
What would need to happen to make you feel 100% confident for us to move on to it?
Yep. What would need to happen for you to feel 100% comfortable moving forward today? Number 5.
Let's say we don't do this today, what happens next?
Yep. Number 6.
Is there
Boom. Pretty helpful, right? So make sure you guys practice that, go through it, right? One thing you may get is when you think about it, that's super simple. Hey, I totally understand you think about it to make sense. Let me ask you this. What's thought process you're going to think through? How are you going to think about it? What decision you're going to make? Right? What's the criteria you're using to think through it? And what will that expose? What are most of them going to say? I say, Jeremy, let me ask you this. What criteria are you going to use to think through it to make a decision? Most people don't know, right? Which is why you don't need to think about it. You know why, Jeremy? Thinking is actually instant. I tell you, think about a gray elephant. What do you think about? Tell you, think about my watch. What do you think about? Exactly, because thinking is instant. You just make a decision today. And so if you want, I can give you a great criteria on how to make a decision today. Does that work for you? Number one, do you think that the product I just showed you, the guaranteed sold, says we get the property sold for you? Number two, you think that I can follow through and execute these things, get your property sold for you? Number three, you think all this together can get you the outcome you want, get you to Florida with your grandchildren? Great. Just so you made a decision together. That work out for you? Right? Whatever it is. Now, just deconstruct whatever that is. Now, if there is an issue, they'll do what? Hey, no, you can't do it. But I want to get whatever that reason is, loop back around with it. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully that's helpful. All right. A couple things real quick.